Okay, so I wanted to make this video as a help for you guys, mainly for next year, as most of you are high school students still, but as a guide for next year when it comes to applying to college clubs and other extracurriculars at colleges. This might also apply for current positions if you guys are applying for things, but the main focus is going to be on college clubs. So to start, um, let's see. Let me just double check I'm screen sharing the right screen. Yeah, all right, we're good. All right, so to start, so the first thing you should do is look into what clubs that your college has. So you can go onto the college website. It's probably going to be the best source. But besides from that, a really good place to look is Instagram. A lot of clubs at my school personally have mainly focused on Instagram for recruiting and also LinkedIn. So at my school, as an example, we have many finance clubs. That's kind of our main focus at Baruch is finance. I believe 25% of majors are finance and 16% are accounting. So really focused on finance. A few of them. So Investment Management Group, that's the club I'm currently serving on as an analyst. And then there's 55 Capital, which is like a student-run hedge fund. There's Finance and Economic Society, which is often offered at other colleges as well. There's also Association of Latino Professionals for America. Now, I am not Latino, but I put this on the list because you might see clubs oriented to a specific demographic, but don't be afraid to ask them if you can still apply. Because, for example, this alpha, I could apply to, even though I'm not part of the Latino community. Going down, we have Scholars of Finance. You'll likely have that club at your school. There's Private Equity Club and also Wall Street Club at my school, and many others. So early networking. So before you get to college, you should get an understanding of the club that you want to apply to, and then you're going to want to reach out to members. So that's kind of what I did. I contacted maybe like two or three members, nothing crazy. I would more orientate yourself towards targeting sophomores for questions and also current freshmen if you have not graduated high school yet. And the best way to do that is going to be on LinkedIn. I know you need premium to like message people, so you might have to like finagle to find their emails or something of that nature. But LinkedIn and emails is going to be the best option for that. Applications. So, typically you're going to see two interviews with more competitive clubs. The first interview, you're going to be mainly tested on behaviorals. They may ask you technical questions. As we get farther into the video, I'll explain those questions. So hold on. In the second interview, you will be tested on technicals and also behaviorals. So the technicals are a main part of that second interview. All right. So questions. So behaviorals. So for example, they may ask you, tell me about XYZ on your resume. So for me, it was tell me about advanced equities. And it could be anything on your resume, right? So they asked me as well about my job at the golf course I work at home. They asked, um, I don't know if I like talk to members, things like that. Just questions specifically about items on your resume. So it's very important to note that anything you put on your resume is fair game in an interview. So don't say you know how to do something in like the skills section when you don't know how to do it. Like that's just it's not going to go well for an interview, especially if it's related to finance. So like don't make stuff up. Just don't make things up. Um, so going down, another question you might see is why did you decide to come to the college you're at? Why do you want to join the club? What's your favorite movie? Could be a behavioral. Questions that are more towards like fast thinking. Do you have something right away? It could be like, what's your spirit animal or something like that. Another one is tell me a story in 30 seconds. I had this one. It took me 20 seconds to think of something because I was just so non-adjusted to the uh the randomness of these questions. I wasn't expecting anything like that. So prepare yourself because you never know what you're going to be asked. Um, and then tell me why you want to join this club in one sentence. That might be a really good one to know. Difficult. So the questions for the behaviorals are going to be difficult to prepare for. So don't make it your primary focus. You want to focus mainly on technicals, understanding key introductory like finance questions, which we'll cover in a moment. Reasoning questions. So reasoning questions are similar to behaviorals, but they're more focused on like not necessarily riddles, but just things where you can explain how you get to the answer. So for example, what's 24 times 24? So you might do 25 times 25 and then you'll get the answer to that and then you'll reason for the rest of it. What's half of 99? So you reason for that. How many Oh, I'm sorry. This is supposed to say how many elevators does Manhattan have? Let me change that really quick. So this question in particular was one that was asked for me. How many elevators does Manhattan have? Um So I kind of what I did as I reasoned for like the number of streets Manhattan has, the number of avenues, and then I figured like maybe there's 6 buildings on each block. So that's maybe a good way to reason it. But when you're reasoning for those questions, make sure you say everything, like how you're thinking. How many ping pong balls can you fit into a Boeing 747? So I wasn't asked this, but it may be a question, something along the lines of that. How many pennies, if they are stacked on top of each other, will it take to reach the top of the Empire State Building? And like said, the interviewer likely does not really care if the answer is spot on for some of these. Your only goal is you should be able to verbally reason for the answer. So don't really go out of your way. I mean, maybe brush up on some math, some basic math, but don't go out of your way to study for these questions as well. Um, Going back to behaviorals, I just wanted to mention that on the resume, I've been asked about AP classes I've taken and then questions specific to those classes. So there was like a calculus problem I had to solve. So just be aware of that. Technical questions. These are the most necessary. I have 4 right now that I think are going to be the most important for you guys. So, what are the 3 financial statements? So you want to say income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and then you want to describe how each of them, what's on each statement. So if you're doing income statement, you would do you have revenue, then you have cost of goods sold, then you have profit, and then you have operating expenses, then you have operating income, and then you have financial expenses, and then you have net income. So things like that, where you're not just answering the question, but you're also explaining it a little bit. For the second question, walk me through a DCF. This is going to be really critical. It's a critical component, the discounted cash flow model. I will cover that in future webinars, hopefully next week. What is the Fed? So the Federal Reserve, central bank of the United States, maybe have an understanding of everything that's happening at the Fed. What is weighted average cost of capital is also one that came up a lot for me, and we'll cover that in a future webinar. So, like I said, we'll start discussing those questions in future webinars. I think that I'm gonna cut it here. This is a good intro and understanding of what we're going to be looking at in the next couple of weeks. So thank you guys, and I hope you liked the video.